Uh, it's hard because obviously so many of the DDWs carry a lot of personality from the city that you participate in. But I probably so far my first one that I would go to is Chicago in 2017. It was the first DDW that I went to as an attending, and it was just a really incredible feeling to finally be board certified in a true part of the field. And as I started to contemplate my role within the field, the possibilities were endless. And having a lot of terrific mentors and role models there to help model different career paths was something that I'll never forget.
Oh, wow. uh, um, there's so many great memories from DDW. It's hard to single one out. Um, I have to say, probably my favorite DDW memory was when the first time a postdoc from my laboratory gave a talk at DDW, and it was just a great moment of pride for me to see my trainee stepping up onto that international stage.
Well, most of my favorite DDW memories have to do with the people. There was a very fun time a couple years ago in one of the DC DDWs where I partnered with two patient advocates who do a lot of work for the patients with inflammatory bowel disease, that community. And we went to a lot of each other's networking opportunities and also sessions. And they did a takeover of the Duke GI Twitter account, which I normally manage. And it was just fun to go outside your area, work with patient advocates and not just the scientists, researchers, fellow physicians. And it was also a lot of fun to have someone else run the Twitter feed for a little bit because it's always a little frantic for me. I'm doing my own learning and I'm trying to capture everything that Duke GI is doing. And so it was very nice to be able to just sit back for a bit and let them do some of the live tweeting and reporting. And I also was part of a video that they made for their blog. So that's one of my favorite. But I've been going to DDW since at least 1999. So there's a lot of memories.
I think one of the best things about DDW is getting to see my colleagues from all around the world, around the country, and being able to, share our latest findings with one another, and just catch up.
I think my favorite DDW memory, oh, I have so many, right? I have so many favorite DDW memories. I'm always looking forward to the random, oh my gosh, I haven't seen you in forever, kind of meetups in the stairwell or in a plenary session when you run into somebody you haven't seen in a long time. So there's always these serendipitous reconnections. But I think the other one specific memory I would say is I remember when Twitter was going live, when social media, Twitter was just getting underway, and it was our first foray into DDW, hashtag DDW meeting. And there was so much energy around trying to get our other colleagues on Twitter, trying to go to that back room where everybody was tweeting and having chats. And it was just a lot of fun trying to figure out how to do social media at a annual meeting together. I just remember that in particular because it was something I've never experienced before.
So my favorite memory is probably about 2 to 3 years ago. I think it was in Washington, D.C. at that time. And I was at the end of my internal medicine residency, and I went with a bunch of my co-residents to DDW. And just the experience of going through the convention hall itself, walking through the posters, seeing the exhibits, walking through the big inflatable colon. I think that afternoon was amazing because I had my peers with me and I could see everything laid out, and really it was a matter of time of what I was able to see. So that was really excellent that one afternoon. I still remember it very clearly, especially that big inflatable colon. It's very, very memorable.
It definitely has to do with going to the conferences in person to wonderful locations, like San Diego was the last time that I went, and just getting to roam around the city and the actual DDW area with other people that you are either training with there or that I knew from across the country that had gotten together for the conference. So it's just a nice place to mingle and see everyone that you don't always get to see.
Yeah, my favorite DDW related memory is probably when we were having really good discussions in San Diego, for example, for really long time, and often these discussions went into dinners in the evening, and then next day early in the morning we met again, and we continued the discussions regardless how less we slept. And the level of science and energy in the conference was really inspiring, and I still kind of feeling that inspiration.
I think my favorite DDW memory is actually going to San Francisco and meeting some of my colleagues on Twitter, because I've only been on Twitter for the last couple of years, and it was the first DDW where I walked in there and I'm meeting all these people that I've been in touch on Twitter in person, and people stopping me in the corridors and taking photos, and it was really amazing experience meeting people in person after having been in touch with on Twitter, and even co-authoring some of the papers, having never met them in real life. So that's yeah, San Francisco was a real a highlight